Mm-hmm. 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 Come on. Mm-hmm.
So, Chuck, tell me about your first week selling our St. Regis condos.
Yeah, it's wow, I've been working on this project so long. $107 million in 1 week.
Wow.
107 million. We went on sale last Friday, and we've got 600 people on the waiting list.
Tell us, how did you come across this project?
Well, what we're talking about is the St. Regis Hotel and Longboat Key and residences. And gosh, I've been working on it 7.5 years. It's a great story. The way I came across the project was I was at Augusta, and I was walking down Amen Corner, and there was this lady wearing Lily Pulitzer, and Lily had just died the day before.
Huh.
And so I ran up to her and I said, I see you're wearing Lily. And I said, it's sad she died yesterday. And she says, yeah, I'm wearing Lily to celebrate Lily's life. She goes, it's so sad. I love Lily and da-da-da. And I said, so where are you folks from? And the gentleman said, we are from Florida. And I said, me too, what part? And they said, Sarasota. And I said, I've got this piece of property in Sarasota I've had my eye on that I'd love to buy. And he said, what property is it? And I said, it was called the Colony. And he said, well, here's my card. I'm the bankruptcy attorney for the Colony. And you just never know who you run into and who you talk to.
It's so
and,
true. That's fate.
Just I knew what she was wearing. You have an eye for fashion, and that's how I got in touch with the property. And interesting, so he said there's two ways to buy the Colony. He said you can either buy Andy Adams out, who I had no idea who Andy Adams was, and we'll talk about that in a minute. You know who he is.
I do.
And he said, or you can buy out Bank of America's collateral that someone bought the banknote. And so I got back, and Monday, I called up Morgan Bentley, and I said, well, give me the phone numbers and the contacts and tell me who I need to talk to. And so he gave me Andy Adams' number. And I called up Andy, and I talked to him for about an hour. And it went nowhere. It went absolutely nowhere. And I thought, this is a waste of my time. So I blew it off. And then I went to Longboat Key. It was probably about a week later. And I looked at the property again, and I said, gosh, I got to buy this property. And so I called Andy back up. Once again, went in circles for an hour, went absolutely nowhere. And I thought, well, let me call these other guys. He mentioned the guy's name, David Siegel and Randy Langley. And so I met with David and Randy, had dinner with them, had a great conversation, hit it off, and they came to my office. This was on a Saturday. They came to my office Monday, and they said, we want $20 million for, and this was a commercial land in the heart of it. And I said, I'm not going to give you 20, I'll give you 15. And they said, 20 is the price. I said, okay, I'll give you 20. So we wrote a 2-page contract, and I bought that. And
this was how many years ago?
7.5 years ago. It's been a long time. This is one of those projects that that tests your perseverance and your faith.
Absolutely.
And because I've always been faithful that I would get it done. I've been driven to get it done. I haven't given up on it. And I made the deal with them to buy the bank collateral, and we finished the foreclosure. And as you know, we went to breakfast with Andy and didn't even get close to making a deal with Andy. And so, when I got involved, it was a triple bankruptcy. We had to settle all the bankruptcy issues. 237 different units. Andy owned about 70 of them, but had to negotiate with the other 150 or so units. And made a deal with all the unit owners, and we're still not completely closed on them all, but wow, it's been just one heck of a road. We had to institute litigation to sue Andy because he's like, I'm not going anywhere. So we filed the first judicial condo termination ever done in the state of Florida, which we're completing now. But I've since made a deal with Andy and purchased all his interest. And he started way up here, if you remember, and we ended up somewhere a little bit less than way up here.
Yeah, I did.
It's exciting.
Yeah, so tell me what made this so Why did you have to have this piece? What made it so important?
You know, I would drive by it, and it really didn't start off that I wanted to build a big hotel there. I really wanted to build just a nice condo project so I could have one myself. And there, on the west coast of Florida, there's no hotels with condos where you can enjoy, lunch on the beach at your condo and dinner and all the different things.
5-star experience.
Yeah, there's no and as a matter of fact, last week we sold the most expensive condo ever sold on the west coast of Florida, $20 million for one condo. But
that's amazing.
I would drive by it and I saw it as an opportunity, and it was hard, but I kept looking at it like I do with a lot of things, but I kept looking at it and saying, if I don't do this, somebody else is. And I thought, I don't want to end up a couple of years from now, at the time I thought a couple of years, and see that somebody else did this project because I gave up.
Yeah.
And so I was persistent. And I remember the first time I went and met with the town manager, and his name was Dave Bullock, and Dave says to me, he goes, I've had a lot of developers come in here say they're going to do the colony. He goes, but you're the first guy I think's actually going to do it. And I said, you watch.
Yeah.
I said, I will, and I won't give up. Yeah. And I've been relentless.
Oh, yeah.
And it's been just such a pursuit. It's such a great property. People don't know the history, but Audrey Hepburn stayed there.
George Bush was there during 9/11.
He woke up that morning of 9/11, and that's where he woke up.
Yeah.
And there's a great story on the internet. I'm not going to give it away, but if you Google it, it'll tell about how some terrorists actually went there to try to get George Bush. It's a great story, but you got to Google it to find it. And but yeah, George Bush stayed there. Other presidents have stayed there. There's a list of celebrities. Gosh, I think 80-something celebrities have stayed there. And it was
tennis. It was a famous tennis resort too.
Yeah, Andrew Agassi he learned how to play tennis there from Nick Bollettieri.
That's amazing.
It's got just such a history to it. And when I walked the property with Hervé Umbler, the president and CEO of Ritz-Carlton,
I was there.
That's right. And he said, this is the best beachfront property in the United States.
Yeah.
And so, as a matter of fact, you and I met with the CEO of Tommy
Bahamas.
Tommy Bahamas. And they wanted to do a Tommy Bahama resort there. And the guy he just kept calling me, and you and I went and met with him. And
because it is so, it's a gold mine. Everybody sees that this already is a proven resort location that has so much history, and they know that somebody's going to make it into a beautiful resort in the future. And so it's fascinating to me. I've been alongside you since I was 23, so 4 years now, going over there, sitting in planning and zoning meetings to see how relentless you've been, and that we've worked with the town to create something that they will enjoy as well, something that the rest of the world is going to enjoy, but also something that Longboat Key will enjoy.
And this is one of those true evolutions of a project, because when we started it, the town hated me. They hated us. They hated our company.
They did.
And they would scowl at me. Like, I would see commissioners at the grocery store. They'd give me the dirty looks.
They didn't see the vision.
They didn't, and we came in with a much more ambitious project. It was taller, and they thought it looked like Miami, and they'd say that Miami, Orlando developer. But now we've scaled it down. The town's excited about it. They've embraced it. And it's unfortunate we hit COVID, because, my fear has been that, hospitality lending would be impossible to find, because we're going to be ready to start construction the second quarter of next year. And I was just on the phone with the lender before I walked in here, and they're interested in it. Because when you can tell a lender, we sold 17 condos in 7 days for $107 million, the most expensive price point ever on the west coast of Florida, same as Miami prices. It just shows you how much desire there is for it, and it tells you, my original gut feeling and our feeling as a company is that it was the right piece of property. It's the right thing to pursue.
Absolutely. So what kind of amenities, what's your vision? Tell us a little bit about it.
So this is my first ground up hotel. And I've traveled all over the world. I've been to a lot of hotels, but I've never built one. Right. So, like the first time doing anything, I wanted to go hire the best architects, which we have, SB Architects.
We do.
The interior design, well, you tell me about the interior designer.
Oh, he is amazing, and he comes out in those meetings with this grand vision, and you're just mesmerized by his storytelling. So I am fully confident he's going to bring it to life in a way that, you know, still blow people
HBA,
away.
Christian is our interior designer, and all the women love him because he speaks like this, and he can make anything sing and dance. And he's
incredible.
He's super talented. So we got a great interior architect. For the condos, we hired Mark Michaels, which I think's, you know, arguably one of the best interior architects for residential in the country.
Yeah.
Ania, the landscape architect, they're probably the best in the world. So we got a great team of people together, and you know, I've really stood on their shoulders of their knowledge to culminate what I think is going to be the best hotel in the state of Florida. And it's, gosh, we're going to have, you know, I named a restaurant after myself, CW Prime Steak and Seafood. So we're going to have a great steak and seafood restaurant. We're going to have a 3-meal-a-day restaurant, which Columbia just contacted me and wants to talk about that, which, how cool would that be?
That would be awesome.
We're going to have a throwback to the Colony, the Monkey Bar, which is going to be a great tiki bar in the beach. We've got the Sunset Grill, you know, we're going to have the beach restaurant. It's going to have just wonderful restaurants. The spa, you know, my goal is to make it the nicest spa in the state of Florida, and it's going to be, you've seen some of the designs already. It's beautiful.
Incredible.
It's gorgeous. We're going to have a piano bar. So the intent is that when you walk in, it's like a big giant living room with a piano player and a bar and seating like you're in a living room, and just a great gathering spot, all overlooking the beautiful Emerald Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, that's incredible. So when's the kickoff? When do you think this is all going to wrap up?
I think we will have a permit, not quite the first quarter of next year, but going into the second quarter of next year.
Okay.
And then the goal is to open it, you know, my goal is to open it Thanksgiving 2023.
Wow.
And I'm going to do as
Just
part
in time
of,
for my birthday.
just in time for your birthday. And you look like a bride, so maybe you're wedding on the beach.
Okay.
But we you know, hopefully we can open at Thanksgiving 2023, and you know, we're already down to a couple contractors who are gonna, you know, who would build it. But the vision is finally starting to feel like, over the last 7 days, reality.
Yeah.
And you know, once again, I mentioned faith earlier. It's been a faith check. You know, it's been a hard journey, and you know, I've kept the faith in this. And speaking of faith, we're gonna have Pastor Jim Henry come on hopefully next week. An amazing man. As a matter of fact,
He's incredible. He was my pastor when I was in kindergarten, all growing up. So
he was my pastor for 15 years, and just what an incredible man. You know, I always tell him, and I'll talk about this next week, but Jim has been gifted with so many stories in life. You know, going to church, listening to Jim he's always been the stories. I mean, he ties them back into a religious ceremony. And, you know, when I wrote the book, the Perseverance book, you know, I've realized in my own life I've had lots of stories. As a matter of fact, you always tell me you love my stories that I tell because it makes you laugh.
I've learned a couple. I can say some of them myself.
But
I've heard them so many times.
You run into opportunities because you talk to people.
Yeah.
And the more, you know, like this one, if I wouldn't have talked to these folks on the golf course,
It's true.
I never would have been connected to Morgan Bentley, who was on American Greed, famous attorney, and you know, just going up talking to them, and it's, you know, I try to have an outgoing personality, and you meet people and you learn people and you get to know people, and you never know the opportunities you'll run into. You never know the people you'll meet.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's just you know, this one has been a very exciting journey. I mean, by the time we open this project, we're going to be 10 years into it.
That's insane. So, you know, taking us back, what made you, when you found this opportunity and you had never developed a resort before, did you have any hesitation, any fears? I mean, you just dove right into a project that is something that you've never touched before.
Yes and no. I knew I could accomplish it, but yeah, the whole thing is, like I mentioned a moment ago, the team is, and I think it's important for anybody. When you don't know something, you have to admit you don't know what you don't know. And so I set out to learn.
Right.
And like if someone said to me, Chuck, we want you to build the best car ever, well, the first thing I would do is go try to find the best car designer ever.
Right.
And then I would go study the interior of Lexuses and Mercedes and Porsches and all of them and figure out what each one has the best and say, okay, I'm not an expert at doing this, but this is what I want inside of it.
Well, you're the visionary.
And
you need a visionary to put all of the little pieces together, and you bring a bunch of experts together, and then you lead the vision.
Exactly. And that's cool. What I did there. I went to all these different hotels and, wow, I think that is great, and I think this is great. And anybody can do that. Mm-hmm. You just have to do your homework.
Right.
And went and I sought after, I talked to Marriott and asked them, who are the best architects? And they gave me a list of names. And who are the best interior decorators, and we went and we interviewed them,
yeah.
And we talked to them, we get references, and
right.
And it's all about, even here at the company, Hector and yourself, putting together an amazing team of people, and when you get quality people, you can turn out quality. Mm-hmm. So once you get them together and you get them, all their minds going together, it's amazing to be in rooms with these people and see the ideas they come up with, and my ideas, and then they complement and they add to it.
I was going to say, you've stretched a couple of them a lot. They have these visions, and you say, no, I want to try something different. And I've watched you kind of, they say, oh, we want the spa to do this. You say, no, I'm really seeing the pool, the lagoon looking like this. And I've watched how your vision has even challenged them to create something that they have never done before either.
A lot of people get in a box,
mm-hmm.
and they do the same thing over and over again. For instance, the ballroom. They drew a square, and I said, everybody has a square ballroom. Yeah. We don't want a square ballroom. Let's do something different. And we designed an oval, and the oval is gorgeous.
Incredible.
And they said, well, you can't get as many tables. And we proved, yes, you can get as many tables as that. And it doesn't function because the square is easier. And anyhow, we fixed all those things, and we make it function. But now it's beautiful. It's a piece of artwork. This weekend, I was in Longboat Key, and I was out on the water, and there was a house that I stopped the boat in front of. It was truly a piece of art. The house, you didn't look at it and say it's a house. I looked at it and said, that's a piece of art. It had a curved roof. The roof went all the way to the ground and curved up.
Wow.
And it was glass, and it was just, but someone had a vision to do something different. And I'm sure someone said, let's build a square box.
Yeah.
And this person came in and said, no, I want to do something more special. And that's the way I felt with this, is that we've broken a lot of barriers of typical, how you would do a hotel, and truly making it artful.
Yeah.
That it's pretty, and you look at it and you go, wow, that's gorgeous. And not enough people do that. People get caught up in the same box, and luckily our designers have come along with us. Marriott was, as a matter of fact, they quit coming to the meetings because I hate to say they don't add to what we're doing, but they realize our vision is so much broader than the vision they would have, and they're just like, just run with it.
Right.
We know it's going to be great. And
I remember them saying that too, that with other owners, they kind of handhold through the process. And with you, I remember they came in, they said, okay, now we need to sit and look through this. And we said, we've already done that. Already did that. Check. We've already gone through this. And, I just thought that was so interesting. And you really, because it was your first experience, you jumped on it and tackled every step above and beyond.
And that's what I would say for listeners out there, is that, anything I do, I want to do right. If I can't do it right, I just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like golf. I played golf for years, and I was such a bad golfer. And I took lessons, and I practiced, and golf's never a game you can get perfect, because a perfect golf game would be a hole-in-one for 18 holes. And I would get frustrated because I just couldn't find 5 hours a day to play golf all the time, and I could, I'll play every now and then with clients, and
mm-hmm.
and it's really more drinking and hitting the ball around.
Yeah.
But if you can't do something right, find out what you're good at.
Right.
And we've talked about that many times, passion, and the hotel. That's I've got a passion to really make it right, and when it opens, I just want it to be one of the best hotels in the country. Mm-hmm. It's just I want it to be right. This weekend I went down to the Ritz-Carlton and their beach club, and they were packed. It was jam packed, and I was thinking of if this hotel was opened up, it would be so busy. It would do so well. And Justin, who was on here a couple of weeks ago, I ran into him at the Ritz just by happenstance. He was down there with his family. He probably thinks I'm stalking him, and because I talked about the race and how I'm going to kick his butt when we go to Austin, and I'm going to have crow to eat if I don't. But I am determined to race hard in Austin coming up in 2 weeks. But anyhow, he was down there with his family, and Sarasota Longboat Key is such a great vacation spot.
Yeah.
And I just know this, and a lot of real estate is gut, and I know in my gut that it's going to do well. And
another reason why you know it's going to do well is because I was thinking about this, and you say this often when we talk to our engineers or our designers or whoever. You stay in some of the finest resorts. It's like almost a hobby for you is traveling. I've seen you go on the most extravagant trips, and you know what a Class A resort is going to be like because you've stayed at them. You know the best of the best, and so I think that's why, this isn't something so foreign for you.
No, and I'll tell you, I was always impressed with the Montage out in California, and so I just 10 days ago went to the Montage in Cabo, and I always get frustrated, and I've told many hotel managers, why when you go out to the beach are the tables or the chairs not already set up with towels on them?
Right.
You have guests. Why do I have to lug my stuff and stand there and watch the guy get the beach bed made up? Mm-hmm. So the Montage California or Cabo, I was so impressed that I looked out my balcony at 7 a.m. and the guys were out there setting up all the chairs. And so when you came out there at 9 o'clock, every chair was set up with towels already on it, with a towel at the end of it, a towel on the whole chair, and even buckets of ice with water next to each one. And I thought they did it right, but I noticed that. And I noticed...
Do you notice it more now because you're doing a resort than you did prior?
No, because I've always been frustrated having to stand there while the sweaty guy has to get it ready.
Sure.
And I said for our hotel that we're going to do that.
Yeah.
And I saw it done, and it was impressive. And the Montage has got great customer service, and we're going to bring that at the St. Regis. And we're going to have, we've talked about the Magic Band, we're going to have a band that people wear, that you can open your door with it, you can request a waiter or waitress or concierge. And so instead of having to flag somebody down on the beach and say, hey, can I get a drink? You can just push the button and somebody will come to you.
That's awesome.
And we're doing that with GPS technology, and it's innovative. Nobody's ever done that, and I think it's just going to make the hotel the greatest experience. And I'm glad we're talking about it today because I'm so excited. It's been a vision for so long, and not that we've broken ground. I mean, we have cleared the property, but selling $107 million of condos in 1 week. It's impressive.
Amazing.
And Michael Saunders, but once again, we went and we sought after.
Great team.
You were there.
Yeah.
Who could we hire? Who was the best brokerage firm on the west coast of Florida? Michael Saunders is clearly it. She's done great, and you sat in those grueling meetings because you and I are a little different. I don't think they've encountered people like us. And
I thought you were talking about planning and zoning.
No, I'm talking about with Michael Saunders too. But we're pretty energetic, and they always want to sit and have a calm 2-hour meeting, and that's hard for ADD people to do. And,
well, that's what and it goes back to us saying that, you've stretched them a lot too. And they say, no, we want to sell this type of unit. You go, nope, I'm doing it this way. So I've seen you do that in so many different ways that this resort is just unlike any other, and the condos as well.
Well, and the sales center, and you haven't got to see the sales center yet, have you? Wait till you see it. It's they had a sales center for another development they did, and you walked in and there was half of a kitchen built. You'd see the countertops and some appliances, and they'd have like a little bathroom so you could see what the bathroom was like, and the same thing that everybody's been doing for 100 years.
Right.
And I said, let's do a virtual sales center. And so you go in and pictures of the beach on the walls and big TVs, and it's all virtual reality. You can go through with the mouse and see the condos, and not one bathroom in it, not one kitchen furniture, but you get a view of what the whole thing is because virtual reality now, and you can digitize everything. And I always think the visionary behind Apple, I think if I was Steve Jobs, what would a sales center look like? What would Steve Jobs do? He's not going to have a bunch of furniture in. He's going to have it crisp and clean and virtual reality. And that's the way I think is. And remember, they were against it. They're like, no, people won't want that. And let me tell you, everybody loves it. Huh? I mean, and they're selling they got 25 more appointments this week.
That's awesome.
And so I think we're gonna hit 50% sold out this week. So inside of 2 weeks, and during COVID, that people are going to buy these things like
Right.
crazy.
Yeah,
And that
is
made me
interesting.
nervous.
Okay. Yeah, so how did you feel about that?
Well,
you thought it was going to slow down our sales?
I was going to wait until November to start selling, but during COVID, Florida's just doing great.
Yeah, and it's been so highly anticipated for years. I mean, you and I have been receiving calls. People have been anxiously waiting for somebody to do something with this property, and so I think that's another reason why it kickstarted so well.
And the people buying, I've talked to several of them. What interesting people. I mean, for people to buy $20 million condos, they've got their own history
Sure.
of what they've done in their life.
Right.
And I'm not going to mention names because I'll protect their privacy. But just some high profile, very, very interesting people. And they're all so nice. I've talked to several of them, and they're all excited about it. And I'm excited to deliver to them a wonderful experience, a place to go, and the one thing is I don't want to let anybody down.
Of course.
I want people to come in and say this is exactly what we dreamed of, and this is the St. Regis experience we wanted, and it's going to be just.
And you're creating a residence for yourself as well, which which means that you're not letting yourself down. So that should be some assurance for them as well.
I've got a penthouse there, and when I go out to dinner at night, I don't want someone to come up to me and say, "I've got a problem with this," or "I've got a problem with that." I want people to come up and say, "Great job, well done."
Yeah.
And this brings me back to the Bible. At the end of your life, you want God to say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant."
Mm-hmm.
And I want people to say, "Well done." I want it to be well done, and people to really experience what the vision is, and I want it to be done right. So I'm excited about it, and I'll have to get you back down there and let you see the sales center.
Sure.
We got a lot of work to do in Longboat Key, and it's exciting. And next week, I think Pastor Jim Henry is going to be here. We've texted back and forth, and so I need to call him today. I owe him a phone call, but you got to tune in and listen to it. He's one of the most interesting individuals, probably the best man of faith I've ever talked to, I've ever met. I'm glad to have him as part of my life, and I know he's part of your life.
Right.
And he's just, I'm excited to get him on.
It'll be awesome.
A completely different story. It won't be real estate. I'm going to ask Jim to tell about his walk in life and how he got to where he's gotten to, and how he built the biggest church in Central Florida. And he just amazing guy. So I'm looking forward to having him on. And
awesome.
I hope you enjoy the story about St. Regis. Follow it.
Go look at the website.
Yeah, look at the news articles. Google it. It was the Colony Beach and Tennis Resort earlier. Our website's now open. Residences of St. Regis, or St. Regis Residences Longboat Key. And so anyhow, signing off. See you next week.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.